Thank you. Okay, this is October 2nd. This is the meeting of the committee to review the purpose, composition, functionality, and effectiveness of standing committees of the town. Before we start, I want to read the following. This meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Seeing any, this meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. May also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live video on demand archives of the Town of Barnstable's website. Okay, we'll start with a roll call.
You call it.
All right, Councilor Ludke.
Here.
Councilor Berta.
Present.
Councilor Hart.
Here.
Councilor Turkelson.
Here.
I'm Councilor Crowe, and I'm here. Are we missing anybody today? No, we're not missing anybody. Okay, so we'll get right into public comment. Larry, do you have anything right now?
Hi.
Hi.
Looks like a full house full of voters. Hi, Allison.
Okay.
I'll also acknowledge Allison Cagliano, who's from the legal department, who's sitting in with our meeting today.
The only thing that, the things I underlined was human services, and I've already said that to all of you. I love the thing about talking about removal of members. I'm not advocating that, but having a procedure I think is great. And the bottom line is composition, which really deals with Chapter 241 of the Administrative Code. That's where it needs to be improved. So I'm working on that already for every committee that I can get my hands on. So those are the things that I'm working on, okay?
All right, thanks.
I know you're rushing. I get the sense that your engine's left running in the parking lot.
No, it's not. No, somebody would take over. Keys or no keys. Okay, we'll continue discussion on a few items today. The first is the composition of Recreation Commission and Council on Aging. Anybody have to want to start off the conversation?
What we were gonna, oh, sorry, you go.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, when we spoke last, we were talking about too many members, right? Meaning too many slots, cutting back the slots, we won't be able to better fill them and not have quorum issues. That was what we were discussing generally, right?
That's what I think, yeah.
For Recreation and Council on Aging. We suggested an appointment for someone on the Council on Aging.
Just did, Larry.
Just did Larry, right? And someone for the Recreation Commission.
Yeah. So what are Larry, do you remember what the total membership is for the Council on Aging?
I think it's 9.
9.
Oh, you want me to be closer? I think it's 9, but there were 3 other appointments that the appointment committee made before I hit, 2 days ago.
9 and 3 alternates.
9 and 3 alternates.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I guess I could understand if they had that many and it was like every village or every voting precinct had to have a member. I mean, that would kind of make sense to me to have that many people.
Yeah.
But, and I know, I mean, we still have after Mr. Moran is officially voted in, there's still 2 alternates that are open. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe having.
Maybe strike the alternates altogether? Or go down to 10 total members?
We should have an
No,
odd
9.
number.
9?
Odd
Oh, right, you
number.
can't have 10, duh.
Do you
So
want
either
to?
11 or 9 and have no alternates?
Would that mean we'd have to? Would we still have enough that are active on that committee to fill those positions?
Yeah,
or are we
now
cutting
we
it?
now we have 9
So
plus
that would
1
be
alternate.
1 alternate.
So, I mean, I think we could make it so that upon next appointment, or, I mean, I would assume it would be once the alternate is reappointed, we could get rid of that position, or maybe the next time a regular member is removed, if the committee and the appointments committee wanna bring that as a regular member, then we remove the alternates, you know?
Okay, Larry, you had something to say about that?
Yeah, they're erratic as to their attendance. Sometimes there'd be 7 there, sometimes there'd be 4. And so I think that's part of the problem they've had. And I don't even think they're videotaped there. I've never seen anything at the appointments at the 'cause, you know,
I don't think I've seen him on the YouTube
I
channel.
don't think there is at the, what do they call that building? So,
Okay.
I'll find
But
that
now,
out next
alternates
week.
tend to be, when I think of alternates, I think about regulatory bodies where then quorum is a bigger deal.
Exactly.
And that since the Council on Aging is strictly advisory, I wonder what the thinking, or is it in the legislation, though, is the question. Is there anything in there enabling, because that's a
I'm looking at,
statutorily defined.
yeah, so it's chapter 40, section 8B, which is the establishment of council on aging. I'm not seeing any particulars on the makeup of a council on aging in the statute. It's our ordinance that says 9 regular members, 1 alternative, and 2 associate members.
Oh, they don't even have that labeled right here then.
So they have an alternate and
They have
two
alternate,
associates?
alternate, doesn't say alternate and 2 associates.
It might be easier just to make it 9, or what would, since we have one, make it 11, that one, and then no alternate or associate position.
If I may, I think, and perhaps Allison might be trying to scramble to find it here, to see if there is any prescription coming from the state, because at one time I was like, why do we call it Council on Aging? Why don't we like update the name or something? And I was told, no, you can't do it, that's how we get our funding. So there's a lot of, or there's some pass-through funding from the state level, maybe federal money, that goes to Council on Aging. So there's something about the name there that makes me think there's a.
No, you are correct, and if you look at their website, the Council on Aging staff is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. I mean, they all have town of Barnstable addresses as emails, their staff. And then they're calling what you guys are talking about, the Council of Aging, they call it the board. And they advertise for it, they meet once a month. Their mission is to advocate for and meet the needs of older people. So the Council on Aging, I think you're right, that it is a legal name. And these guys are all called Council of Aging. But then the Council of Aging Board, if you want to get the name correctly, that's what you're talking about. So they're just like all the other ones. I'm sure they just bounce ideas off the staff, but it's a very, very robust staff.
Yeah, and they provide a lot of service.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of outreach. I was concerned at one time when I was on appointments that perhaps the problem was they might be meeting too early at 9 a.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m. is when they meet.
For seniors who might be less inclined to have
It is
a working
early.
schedule. And then I was told, no, they have, the former president or chair dropped off and there's a new chair, and there was I got some indication that the new chair was going to invigorate this group, but if there's still vacancies, or lack of a quorum, more importantly, perhaps we should ask the staff for some input on that, to make sure we're not jeopardizing this relationship they have with the funding sources.
Somebody told us that, didn't they? Who was it that said? Or did we come up with that?
Chris Canella would
But,
be.
yeah, that's so the idea was that with less members, then there's less, you don't have to have as many show up to have a quorum,
Yeah,
Right.
that was Karen. So
Right.
I think Karen initially last week, or with our last meeting,
suggested that.
suggested going down to 7 members.
I think 7 is, but I think 9 is totally
I just
unwieldy.
think it's way too many
It's
people.
way too
Yeah,
many.
that's fake, whatever works for you guys works for
7
me.
is
I just-
more than enough.
Firing 2 people seems like.
Yeah, but we don't
how
have
do
to
we
fire
do
them
it?
today,
But
we
we let
can
it go
at the
until
next
they
appointment.
lapse,
Right.
they lapse, and they lapse. Like we'd let them continue on until they
There's a
lapse.
vacancy.
Well, you could also maintain the alternate members. I mean, the alternates can kind of, they don't count, so to speak, right? So,
That's true, you could just
and then you have people that are up on things. Should other people retire or resign, then you have these alternate ones.
so that you don't have to fire people, quote unquote.
Yeah. But I'd move it down to 7. I think
Make it
Karen's right.
7 and then make the 2 additional people who are regular members now
Alternates.
alternates. Or ask them to
No.
pick two people to make
Because
all.
again, I mean,
Who knows, in another year or two, some of those
It might
people
be
may be
different.
turning over anyway, and we're worrying about something that
yeah,
might be a non-issue. I mean, there might be people who say, I'm ready to leave, move on, but I also feel bad because we've been struggling for really 2 years to get this board fully staffed, and it's still not fully staffed, so I feel
yeah,
like we
and
need
you look
to,
at their newsletter, as they say, their programs are robust, they're doing all this, look at this, I mean,
It is a lively place.
it's huge, so I don't know that,
That sounds good to me. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever you guys wanna proceed.
so 7 members.
Say 7 members and it comes out of attrition. And then when it gets down to 7 members through regular attrition, then we try to maintain that number.
And eliminate the alternates.
Yeah.
Is there any
Yeah.
reason, unless the, and perhaps, I don't know if it's best if, from legal, you contact Chris Cannella or Kelly to see if this is reformatted, is there anything in jeopardy? If we drop the alternates and,
Well, there wasn't anything in the statute, right, about the composition?
There's nothing in the statute about composition, only our ordinance. So, but I mean, I think last week we did discuss, I honestly, I don't remember who was going to reach out to Chris, but we did discuss running it by him first, because for that and for Recreation Commission, because those are the two we were discussing, changing the composition, so, yeah, we can do that before you take a vote on it, to recommend it.
I think we should take a vote right now, and if it comes back, then we might.
Right, that's another thing is, if you're recommending it, you're not,
I mean,
voting it to be
you're back
final.
and we'll modify as needed.
Do
So
we-
I
yeah.
make a motion to change the composition of the Council on Aging to 7 regular members and reduction from the current composition through attrition.
second.
Discussion, we have any, what we're gonna do with alternates? Do we know what they do themselves with alternates? Are they only there when they're needed? Or are they there all the time? They're non-voting?
So there's the one alternate would be voting if they need them, obviously. There's 2 associates who are not ever going to be voting. They're just sort of there for support, I think.
Okay,
In the ordinance, it says associate members may serve on committees but have no voting privileges if a regular member is absent. So there's just the one alternate.
Larry, do you have something to add to that?
yes, most of the committees, including aging that I've talked to, they say, I've asked, all I can do is, you can't vote if you're an alternate, but you can do everything else. You can participate, you can argue, you can, whatever you want to do.
So can the general public.
But
So can the general public.
I know, but I'm just saying it's, we participate more actively. You can sit with the committee as you're doing it, but you can't vote. That's the only thing that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I just think the only thing I'll say is, we need to think about, having been on appointments, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We have to ask a lot of
Yes.
work for what? They're not voting members, they can't participate, but like Chris says, a regular member can show up and participate. And again, until now, we haven't been able to fully staff this board and even ongoing, so I think,
Well, that's why I like your motion. You said through attrition. So we just, through attrition, it gets to 7 and that's it.
and
No
if,
alternates,
and if for
no-
some reason this turns out to be a bad suggestion in the next 1 to 3 years, they can bring it back to the appointments
Yeah.
committee and ask for it to not be
Right.
done.
Okay, so we've had a motion, we've moved it, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous.
What about, wasn't the recreation the same thing?
Recreation, they're trying to get more members now, from what I understand. There's
Trying to
one-
get more?
They got one more. Is it the same problem? They have too many members or
No, not enough members.
not enough?
No, but too many,
Oh, I mean, yeah, too many slots. It's funny, I just looked up the recreation, and of course it's not on, and I didn't bring my appointment stuff with me.
We had,
are they 9 as well?
there were 5, that's a great question. I know that there are 5 currently, and we appointed, or we suggested, recommended an appointment this last week when we met with, was that yesterday or the day before? When we met? Day before.
Yesterday?
The appointments committee was
Yesterday.
Monday,
Oh.
2
Tuesday.
days before.
So there'll be 6 people on it now.
7 members
7?
in the
Oh,
ordinance.
they were saying
7.
maybe to go to 5.
But now we got 6.
we can do
Right.
attrition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, probably what I wanna do.
They're also had problems putting people that on recreation
Well,
meetings.
I think 5 is good for that.
You
we've
think?
just basically added a person, but they're still down a member.
Okay,
And I've been on 2 years and we've never had a recreation,
Maybe one, that, no, maybe not.
yeah.
It's always a secondary one, I mean, tend to put the person on the primary thing they want.
oh, I see.
And it was by the request of the young man who visited us last week. Didn't he say, it'd be better if we had less members?
Well, I think his theory was they have work to do, and with having 7, it makes getting a quorum really hard, so then people show up and they're only meeting every other month. So if you're waiting every other month and then you show up and you can't meet a quorum, it's kind of like, yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to move that from 7 to 5? Is that something we decided?
I'll make that motion. So moved. To reduce the, well, how would you phrase it?
Recreation Commission.
To reduce
Quorum.
the quorum, or to reduce the membership of the conservation, or recreation commission from 7 to 5 regular members.
Second.
This minute's really way too big for me. I'm trying to talk.
Okay, any other discussion about that motion?
Make a job maker.
No more discussion, so we want to vote on that motion. The motion was is to go from 7 members on the recreation committee, regular members, to 5, through attrition, I assume also.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
For what it's worth, I looked up Yarmouth, and Yarmouth is calling their equivalent the age-friendly community team.
Age-friendly community team.
And there are 7 members for, we call it Council on
Yeah.
Aging, or I'm assuming so.
I didn't become friendly until I was in my 50s, so it's kind of like an age
I know, right?
55 friendly.
What does that mean?
7's a good,
Okay, the next is the Human Services and its report to the committee. Any comments about Human Services and where we're going with that?
Yeah, I thought what she sent was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought they laid it out pretty succinctly. I don't know, did everybody
Yeah.
read it?
I did.
Yeah. I tend to think that this town does need a staff human services.
Yeah.
We do, we're just inundated. I mean, Hyannis is nothing but human services. And we're completely out of the game. We have the only homeless shelter on the entire Cape. To not have what I call a finger on the pulse of what's going on, I think is dereliction of duty. I don't think we need to get, full in, but I think we should have someone, and they recommended that, the education, the expertise. I thought they did a good job. I would like to have this committee recommend that we do that. I know we're not supposed to be adding money, but I think this would be well worth it. And I think it's kind of embarrassing that a town of our size, with what we have here, that we don't have some staff representation. I don't agree that it should be a department head. I think it should be under community services. I think it would fall in nicely there.
You mean under like
Community services, yeah. So it has a home. I don't see it as coming by itself, because then it just, that one person is really gonna be out on their own. I think if it could dovetail in there.
Well, I mean, because it talks about, some of the, at risk, the age groups that are at risk.
Yeah.
And so that's, could be veterans, it could be elderly,
Well, and now that community services has kind of taken the veterans thing, and they mention in there the veterans, and that's another embarrassment of the town, frankly, is we don't have any veteran. I mean, if you look on your website, you go to Major Quilty. He is the regional veteran officer. And he goes from off Cape to Provincetown, okay? And we always have a confusion there. Like, have Major Quilty do this, have Major Quilty do. No, he doesn't work for us. But our website goes straight to Major Quilty, which I don't think is right. He has an enormous amount of work to do. So, they included veterans, and the Veterans Work-Off Program is now with Community Services.
So as I say, I was impressed with all their machinations. I thought they got it down to a reasonable proposal, and I think we ought to advocate for it, but that's me.
I agree.
Is that the one I got, the same one? The one
This
that John
one?
sent along that had the job
Yeah, it just,
description and
it's
everything?
very, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction.
I think it is, yeah.
I mean, that granted, that's more or less what we asked for. I would also like to see, I had kind of hoped to also see sort of an action plan up there as for a timeline going forward, just for their general work, but that's beside the point. I mean, I can't ask all of that. I mean, I think it's a good starting point. At least from the meetings that I watched when it comes to the discussion of this document and others, they're interested in being on that committee, and if they're gonna fight it out, they're gonna let them fight it out. Would our recommendation be how would we phrase our recommendation, or what would the recommendation from us be? That because of in order to improve the functionality or the effectiveness of the Human Services Committee, we suggest that there be
No.
a
Well,
position established that will allow them to then.
well, we shouldn't base everything on the Human Services Committee, because its genesis was really flaky, okay? Which is why it is flaky, okay? It was pushed by one town councilor with flaky, I say flaky, but they used to they'd pitch tents on Main Street and stay out in the cold. That's what the committee would do. Okay, that's all well and good to have empathy, but that's not really what the town of Barnstable should be doing. So the way you're phrasing it, I think we have a dysfunctional Human Services Committee because we don't have staff representation. So it's kind of backwards. I think we're advocating to the town manager to now do due diligence and come forward with a proposal. That's not for us to do. I think the Human Services Committee, to their credit, has come forward with a 65% solution that now we hand that to the staff, and then they come forward, and then that Human Services Committee will have somebody to work with. And I think, then they could step out somewhat smartly. And the homeless shelter, just that alone, that's enormous. That's enormous.
So when you say that we should be bringing forward this concept to the town manager, would you recommend, going back to some of the conversations that Councilor Burdick has had and whatnot, that we bring this forward on the dais under the section under committees, boards and commissions, us as a committee, and we say to the town manager, we've come up with this idea? I don't know that we can just back end, kind of like the enforcement stuff. Being
what would be the
muddled.
mechanism? Would we have to
So-
get it on the agenda, or would we do that as part of would you present it as the chair? We haven't all discussed our positions, but would that be something you'd present? Because you found in the rules,
Yeah.
there is a process
For
there.
referring these things.
Well,
getting them out
when I
there.
had the CFAC do the
Yeah.
analysis for the Wilkins, but we did that,
Very
I did
effective.
that, yeah, it was very effective. Yeah,
I was just thinking of it in terms of, making a recommendation to essentially hire a human resources director be
Not
within
human
the-
resources,
or human
don't-
you know what I mean, what I'm trying
no,
to
well,
say.
just be careful on
It's a human-
terminology. We
how
have a
we
human
work.
resource.
It's easy just.
Human services, I meant
Yeah,
to say.
yeah.
But I was just saying, does that really fall within the purview of this committee? Because it doesn't exactly pertain to the purpose, composition, functionality, effectiveness.
Well, I think it does pertain exactly to the functionality and effectiveness. We might as well, okay, I'll put it the other way. We get rid of human services. If we're not gonna have a staff position, we get rid of it because it has nowhere to plug in and it just will never get anywhere.
Yeah, so then just to,
So this is the effect.
this
If
is
we
to
want-
improve the functionality and effectiveness.
Yes, it is.
So I would suggest, going along your suggestion, Counselor Lutke, that we do present to some recommendation, probably at a leadership meeting, to the town manager to say that we're gonna recommend that there be some staff support. It doesn't mean we're advocating for a full position, it could be a part-time. I know that
Could be.
when in the planning department, there was a half position for a grant writer, and it's morphed into a full position with a broader responsibilities. So I think that maybe there's a current staffer who might be able to provide some staff support, but not necessarily a position that's solely assigned. So I would throw it to the town manager to say, this will be a recommendation coming from our committee, yet to be fully massaged by the full council, but just to let you know where it's coming from. And I would kind of give a timeout after that to see where, as as a town manager and senior staff are developing or at the beginning of the budget season, this may also be reinforced at our strategic plan, which is in 2 weeks. And I think if that's a serious thing that has support of the majority of the councilors, then that could emerge as a bullet point or a recommendation going, where it'd be in the strategic plan that the town manager says it's the guiding document.
So you wanna work it through leadership mechanism?
Somewhat, but
Okay.
to kind of, how do I want to say? To signal sooner than later that this is the prevailing impression of this committee, and so that it's in the wheelhouse for discussion at the strategic plan, because that's coming up in
Would
2
that be
weeks.
then appropriate for John at the next town council to inform the other town councilors? I think it would be a good time, because that would be for strategic
ninth.
planning,
I
right?
think, we went through all this. I think if we're gonna recommend it, let's make a recommendation on it. We had them here, we spoke with them, we gave them something to do, we waited months or a month or whatever for them to come up with it. It's how we had, or I feel, I assume that some of you do. Let's make a recommendation, and we'll say, and then we can follow it from there. Don't put the horse in front of the cart and start saying, well, how will we put everything together? Let's start talking to them about this and that. We just make a recommendation.
Yeah, but
That's
we
our
have to
charge.
make a recommendation to the whole council.
Yeah, but how's that, what's the mechanism?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Right in
saying. Chris will take it to
No,
a leadership, but
we all agree we're gonna make it, then
But how?
who do we, at the next
what's
council
the,
meeting?
on next Thursday?
Well, when we deliver are we delivering our
I don't think we should wait.
package?
I
You wanna
think-
do it
don't
right
think-
away? Then
I
hey,
don't-
that's fine with me too.
I think we should not wait, because if we,
I don't think we should wait. I think
because
this
it's
is an
gonna take
important
time,
thing.
and then
Yeah.
like she said, budget, we gotta get like,
Well, there's a
the
couple of
speed of government is like snail's
I know,
pace,
it
so I
drives me
think,
wild.
You know, well, we can make the recommendation, and I think Seth is right, and then, the particulars are work, but the recommendation is solid,
Yeah, I get that.
right?
So like, should we be, if that, so if we just make a recommendation at a time, we could be, any of these things that we've recommended
Right.
could be going into any agenda. We could have put the stuff that we recommended a month ago on the agenda and already had made some, so should anything we've already voted on be getting submitted to go into the pipeline for the
I
agenda?
think that that's up to the council president, because essentially
we have to have
these
time on
ad
this.
hoc
we do
committees
have-
were all put together, so.
We do have that's thing that was put in there, updates from commission,
Boards,
everyone
committees.
talks about pancake breakfasts,
I get it.
but we could talk about, business.
But I don't think we should come, like, here's one thing and then another thing in a month or whatever. I think.
Well, I think we should do this,
put a
this one's
package.
pretty significant.
But I agree, and that's why I think that the most expedient path, I think, would be to take a vote here, come with something resolved, and we can bring it to leadership and it can get on at the next agenda setting meeting.
Cause it's sure to spur a much larger conversation.
Yes,
I mean, and who knows what people are gonna say,
Good
but,
point,
you know,
good point.
it's gonna be a lot of talk before we hire a human services coordinator.
And that might not be the end result. It might be to,
Well, that's what I mean, there'll be a
Assign
big
a
debate
current-
process, I mean, there may be people on the council, that depending on whether we do it now or we do it in a month, 2 months, and there's a bunch of different people on it. Some people
exactly,
could say, we're never gonna spend that money, we can't, or whatever you know what I mean, you never know what's gonna happen.
but we don't, as counselors, we debate and make collectively policy. We don't tell, you shall hire this person, or, I think that's that's out of our lane. I think generally we say to provide staff support for Human Services Committee.
Well, if we create a department though, it's gotta be staffed, not that
We
we
don't,
would,
we don't
but,
create the.
well, sure we could, we can, I mean, we make an ordinance, we create something that's gotta get done.
We don't create any departments. We don't have anything to do with staff. It's the town manager. As a matter of fact, new town managers come in and change the names of departments or move them around.
Yeah, I mean, I think the town council could vote to, you all vote to instruct the town, ask the town manager to do things all the time, so you can all vote
Right.
to ask the town manager. And if fiscally, if the conversation involves Mark Milne and perhaps fiscally creating department is not the way to go, at the very least, you're voting to get some staff support
Right.
for right now is kind of a floating committee. So I think at the very least, how it's done is going to be a conversation, especially when it comes to money, but you can at least
Yeah, well,
vote
direct.
to recommend and exactly direct the town manager to find some avenue
Resources.
toward that.
Yes, there you go.
Cause that's how, we do direct him to do
You
what
don't
he
tell him
does.
how to do it, I
We
mean,
just say, dude, get this done.
yeah.
He works at our pleasure, so it's like,
I mean, we can send these documents, I mean, I think they give a good, introduction to the idea, right?
so how are you, for me, I had imagined that and I can understand if you don't wanna wait, that we will have like the zoning committee, that we will present a package of things and then they'll go into the pipeline. I'm not against the idea of putting them in some at a time, it depends on what you all wanna do.
Yeah, because we did that for town council rules and code, right? We
Right.
did the rules, we're not done yet, so you can.
I just think for this one thing, it's a little different than a lot of the other things
Right,
we've been
which
putting
are
our fingers
housekeeping
on.
sort of.
Like
Yes.
moving 12 down to 7 or whatever. Like
Yeah.
this is an actual like offshoot development outside of our normal processes that's gonna probably take longer than saying we have currently, 12 members and 3 alternates on council on aging, we wanna go to 7.
Right.
And everyone's like, okay, so I think it just needs maybe a little bit different process, which might be, I think we should maybe let people know sooner rather than later, so they can either come up to speed with watching these meetings, we can have leadership know we need to have some time set
I think this is a
aside,
good time.
you know,
It's in
Yeah.
front of the budget.
yeah, so.
It's at a, finally, a time in recent months where we see a little daylight on the agenda schedule.
Right.
I mean, we haven't had
I
that.
think it's a real good
What
time.
if we just handed over the recommended job description to all the council members, do not discuss, just, this is
Yeah.
information coming out of this committee. John will say a thing about, listen, one of the things that's been recommended, we have this committee that's struggling, it has no staff support. We're thinking we'd like the town manager to consider hiring somebody. You have the job description, and we're gonna be discussing, the chair will be discussing it with leadership. Any questions, please find the chair or leadership. At least then everybody knows, and
Yes,
it's
I
like,
like it.
we don't have to go any further, that'll take like 1 minute
Sounds great.
Okay,
at the next
You
meeting.
can do that, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Updates from boards, committee,
Yeah, under the updates from the boards, committees and commissions.
okay, one thing I'd like to say is that, is this something we're gonna vote on right now to do so?
Well, I think we have to.
Motion to do it, and then I'll just bring it up as the mission,
Did you already make a motion?
I don't think so.
No, I
Not
don't
for
think you
this
did.
particular one.
okay, so somebody put up a motion to recommend staff support to town manager.
So moved, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'll do that on Thursday. Okay, next up, recommended procedures for committee reporting to town council. I was under the assumption that we'd gather all this together and I'd make a report to the town council of what the recommendations came out of this committee.
Yeah, weren't we gonna work up a template to make it easy and make it standard?
Yeah,
So I think the purpose of this agenda item was, we were talking about how the committees, commissions, and boards were gonna report to
How?
town
Yes,
council.
Right.
Oh,
We had a
And
lot.
we were talking about that one pager and then having like a
Yes.
3-minute,
yeah,
just quick, so it's not gonna take up a lot of the agenda, but it'll at
It's
least
exact-
allow for the, along, like maybe throughout the year throughout the year, you have a couple of committees, each meeting come up for 3 minutes, they give you a real report, you can ask questions based on that report, and then that's that.
so that we can have some interface, so that they can be a part of the process. I mean, I, as from our last meeting, when I went on and on about it, I talked about it, I think
Yeah.
it's a great idea. I think
We need to
should-
come up with the one pager though,
Right,
what we wanna hear.
and so,
You wanna brainstorm that here?
Do you want a pen?
Does anybody have a spare pen?
Yeah.
I'm such a fool, thank you. But so, if, you know, was there anything before, when we used to have this, when Jessica Rapp was the president? Was there, meaning, was there a form?
There was a request made to all committee chairs to put out one-page report of their committee to be submitted
Oh,
to
but-
the town report,
Right.
this paper book.
But they used to come in and, so the answer is no, I guess, that there was no form that they had to fill out at that point. So if you were to have a form that you sent out, just say, for instance, if it were just a form, so you'd have name of board, committee, and commission. Maybe I should make this at home and bring it in.
You're
Name
gonna
of.
make it at home and bring it and send it around to all of us?
Yeah, I can put it on a poster board, I'll get a free one that stands up, it'll be great. But I mean, it would include, like, if you want to say, so it would be, if it were very broad, you would say the name of the board, committee, and commission, you would fill in so on. Chair, and reporting officer, whatever, wherever that is. There.
Could you,
Then-
I would like to recommend as the person in the appointments committee, that you say, what is the membership, meaning we have 7 members,
Right.
and we currently have openings. Or
So,
we're currently
I would
fully
like that
staffed.
too, that would
So-
be
I
nice to
think that's
know.
important,
There's-
cause,
And
and we have,
attendance, how was the attendance?
Right.
I think that's
So-
really important.
When I used to work in stores, like corporate stores or whatever, they would have the thing at the end of the day that everybody had to fill out, it's, they call it the SMUP. And it would be, they had stood for different things, like, so say for instance, if you were at the Gap, it would be, S was sales, M was merchandising, O was operations, and P was personnel, and you were supposed to, at the end of every day, make any highlights, anything that occurred in any of those different groups, you know what I mean, like if you had, what were your sales for the day, were they up or down? The operations, did you have anything that went terribly wrong? Personnel, who called in? Merchandising, did you move a bunch of stuff around, is there stuff that needs to go out, is there stuff that, whatever. So like if you think about it in that way, if you had like, you know, you have one category that's the A, that's attendance.
Attendance,
And then
yes.
You have O, which is operations, and then you have, like
I would
outlook
like
or
to see
forward-looking.
I would like to see what they aspire to, or like, you know, forward-looking
Forward-looking statements, aspirations,
Yeah,
whatever.
aspirations, yeah.
So call it the
Accomplishments, I
Right.
don't know.
so the first category would maybe be attendance and membership.
Yeah, attendance and membership, absolutely.
And then the next one is operations, or however you would term that.
so
You could
this,
say
so
operations.
this
How many
had,
times I
in the
met?
past year, what we achieved was,
Yeah,
like, retrospective review, what have they done in the last
Yeah.
year? And what's the next year's
Yeah.
goals?
right, I think that's it.
Retroactive
My
review,
point is-
RR.
What we're asking for is what has been done in
Yeah, we
the
get
town
it.
report.
We get it, but what we don't know is none of us did any of that, we don't know what it
There
is.
it
So they
is,
must
see?
have the form then, right? I mean, this is,
No, because it's not,
it's not the same
it's
from
not the
place to
same
place.
for every.
Well, I think that the initial form
This must be
is-
much.
has a template that probably is generated by Lynn Poyon. And the caveat here is, the wheels fell off the wagon during COVID, so I understand that. And I know that they're doing some recovery of annual reports during COVID.
Got it.
That's where,
So attendance and maintenance. And if we're gonna have it be a one pager and have it be something that is,
And again, when you get into this stuff, everybody's gonna be trying to sound really good.
right,
I wanna hear the bad as well. What problems? I mean, I don't want it to be a cheerleader report.
right, challenges.
Challenges, right?
No, nothing positive.
Don't tell us we just wanna hear what went wrong, please.
Make
Attendance
it all
and-
bad, do,
Attendance.
just kidding.
What did I say?
Like like I just found out the other day, just,
Membership,
Membership,
you know,
that's
we're
it.
trying to do
Here's
these baby
achievements.
scallops, the
Yeah.
town is,
and next year's
okay?
goals.
Right,
And
Challenges.
we didn't get our
Challenges.
scallops, we didn't get our little babies.
And
is that
Why
enough?
didn't we
yeah, I
get
think that that's
I don't know why,
Right,
we
'cause
we
then
just
they-
didn't get
covers
them.
everything.
Yeah, and then they can do that in one page, it
Yeah.
can
I was gonna say, maybe they.
And then everyone, the council gets it ahead of the meetings that they're
Yeah.
coming to. Everyone reviews it and then they have their questions
that's
already.
Sometimes babies
Right.
don't
Do their
have
3
anything.
minutes.
Yep,
be,
well,
off we
that's
go.
the case.
And then it's a hopefully 15 minutes each meeting.
That seems good to me, as we were,
You
what
got the
we were just
negative
saying.
in there, Seth?
Yes, of course, challenges. So attendance and membership, challenges, or retroactive, or a review of the year's account.
Retroactive review.
Retroactive
Yes,
review.
retroactive review,
And the aspirations or the forward-looking statements.
right.
And name of the board, chair and reporting officer. And then they could fill that out ahead of time. We all get it ahead of time.
Yeah,
And then
I think that's it,
you
there
can
it
make a
is.
preparation, Betty will have her questions ready, whoever, Kristen will all be ready to go, and then you can just do it.
Yeah,
And
that
they'll
makes
know
it
ahead of
efficient and effective.
time. So,
So you'll type that up for.
sure, I can put it on poster board, I said, let's see, attendance.
I make a motion
Are you
that
bringing a
Counselor
poster
Burdick
board?
Type this up and submit it to the entire committee.
I will, I'll create a form.
Second.
Oh, I
All those in favor
All
of
those in
me?
favor?
So Counselor Burdick will bring in a final draft and then
Yeah.
you'll vote to recommend it to the full council
Yeah,
next
it'll be
time.
I'll send it to you the next few days. Attendance members challenge.
Okay, so we're, that's the procedure for reporting to the town council that we're coming up with. So we'd like to see that no more than, we say 3 minutes, okay, because we get enough stuff going on, somebody can go through what they got in 3 minutes. So we say 3 minutes, and sprinkle throughout the years, throughout the
Yes.
fiscal year by an even number, or even, a number each meeting.
And then if you do it on a
Divvy them
continuing,
up, yeah, if it's a
then
continuum,
everyone will have their year coming at
they'll
different
know,
times.
yes.
And we're only gonna do the advisory, we're not gonna have the regulatory boards come, correct?
I think we should have the regulatory boards. Why not?
Well,
We have, I don't know, well, we have less control, or they're busier and they have.
well, I just think that they kind of operate, I don't wanna say on their own, but, I mean, we're not telling the ZBA to do anything, they're doing
Well, the
everything.
ZBA is asking us to do things to help
I-
them all the time, and they come upon things, and, I mean, look what happened to that Wilkins thing. The poor ZBA was like in a knife fight there with Attorney Ford, I mean, you can't, that's just
But I
really,
mean, we don't have any, I mean, that's like saying we don't want 32 Pleasant Hill, but we're not gonna convince the Conservation Commission to do anything
I know, but it would
That's
bring
the
up points like,
legal
you know,
bounding.
they could say, I mean, I went to it, I know, but people who didn't watch it and didn't have the time to go back, they might bring up, here's what happened at this, we got a brand new thing for the Affordable Housing Trust, we agreed to it, before talking to the Affordable Housing Trust, I don't know, I just think there's things
I
that.
think there's value in hearing from the regulatory boards too, in that,
Well,
for
wouldn't it
example.
just be better if they had come to us at the beginning if they needed our help, like rather than, like,
They didn't know they needed our help because Attorney Ford sprung it on them at the meeting. And they felt like they couldn't continue it again. They've already continued it like 4 times, so.
Wow.
No, it just,
I don't know, I guess I'm just wondering how.
Well-
I think we maybe just need a better relationship than with our regulatory boards, but we need a better relationship with all these committees, that's the whole point of all
I
this
think
work
it
that we've
is.
been doing, so. All right, that's
But-
For
fine,
me, I don't mind one way or the other. You wanna bring them all in, bring them halfway,
Yeah, that's
that's
fine.
fine with me.
I just thought we weren't really even worried about regulatory boards, and now all of a sudden, that's fine, okay.
Well, I think there's value in hearing from the regulatory boards. For example, Councilor Lepke and I have heard from the chair, Jake Dewey, that he wishes we would consider a discussion about extending the residential exemption to landowners who rent to year-round renters. Because he's saying that he feels the pinch with property taxes, but the residential property exemption goes to people who live here year-round and own their homes, but not to the renters.
But that has nothing to do with the
that has
ZBA.
nothing to do with ZBA.
That's just Jake's personal
Yeah, you
opinion
made it.
as a
Didn't you tell us
residential
that?
taxpayer,
That's
and a
true.
person who
Or
owns
something?
properties.
Okay, that's.
So, I mean, I know he's been talking
I
about.
don't know, I mean, I'd like to hear
swimming
from the
pools
planning board, I mean, we've been at odds with the planning board how many times now? They approved the housing production plan, we pushed back. You know, we put the zoning back that they like, you know? So we're not exactly in sync with the, maybe we don't have to be, but it would be nice to hear what they think their challenges are.
Okay,
I don't know, I think they're pretty important to.
Yeah, I mean, either, like I said, whatever you guys wanna do.
no, that's
We can
fine.
agree to disagree. Look at Chris Clark did submit a report to the board
Let's see,
in year 2016.
oh my
So,
God,
We can do it, we can
look
do
at
it.
that.
There she
We should
is.
ask her to get that document out for the format.
Right, what'd you use? Did you have a template?
So usually the committee chairs were given an email message that said, please submit your one pager by this date, you know, it was a regular thing in preparation for the annual report. So you have to wait for the year to be done before you start soliciting, what's going on, who attended. There's usually acknowledgement of people who have left the committee, we think.
Alright,
Except
so
verdict
how are we
knowledge.
gonna, who's gonna be responsible for getting all these committees to show up? You gonna just divide it alphabetically?
I just divide it
The A's go,
alphabetically,
the
yeah.
B's goes, the C's
Right,
goes?
yeah.
And if we put it in,
Yeah.
if it's somehow enshrined, whatever,
I was
you
just
know.
curious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, I'll call him.
Well, the other thing
Whoever the
too, on the
president-
housing
make the
production plan, when it came back the second time from the planning board, they were very upset that we did not include all of their items. They were very upset about that. So it would be a good thing for them to be able to present to us in person. Again, if you didn't watch the meeting, and nobody represented them when it came to us for a vote.
Yeah, but I think those items got wrapped into the LCP. That was part of why, when they had the go-around about whether they would include them or wouldn't, they said, well, we've moved them into the LCP, so they weren't like they were lost. They were just put somewhere else that was
Well-
more appropriate, because they weren't affordable. They weren't affordable.
I don't think all of them were. I'm just saying, there's
Yeah.
examples where I think it would be healthy to have an opportunity for the
So,
regulatory to.
Can I make a motion then to make that recommendation? That all boards, committees, and commissions be called before the council to report their year's activities on a rotating basis throughout the year, or on a, was rotating the right word, revolving, whatever.
Yes,
So I move that.
report
Second.
annually,
A
yeah.
second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, okay. Process for removal of board, committee, or commission members.
That would be me, but let me just make sure, I wanna make sure I have all our votes straight here. Because, well, I think I do, but, alright, so, okay. So there have been questions about the process of removing members. And what it really comes down to is how the board, commission, committee is created, whether it's statutorily created, which I know we've kind of talked about this the last few meetings, whether it's created by statute or it's only our code, the town code, or, well, it'll be the town code. So if it's created by state law, then that state law is gonna govern how they're removed. If there's language included in the statute. If it's not, if it's created by the code, then our language governs. So we have to ask how the board, committee, commission was created. If created by statute, whether that statute explicitly or implicitly provides for removal. And if it's created, or if the statute provides for removal, whether it contains language allowing for the town charter to rule. So there's a few steps, and it's definitely a case-by-case basis situation, but I'll give you some examples. So, state law, town of Barnstable cannot remove members of a board or agency established pursuant to a general law, even where there exists cause for removal, unless the general law itself explicitly or implicitly authorizes such removal. So, there's statutes that create, and I don't want to call out a specific one because I don't want to give you any misinformation, but some boards created in it, there's no language whatsoever regarding removal. One might assume that then there's no avenue for removal. However, a lot of statutes have language such as the town may appoint and determine the composition of the I don't know, the chair committee. Silly example. And so because the town is now given the authority to appoint, that's where the implicit authority comes from. So it doesn't expressly say, you know, town council after a hearing may remove so-and-so member from this board, but it says that you can appoint, you can choose how many members. The more information they're putting in that statute, the more it implies removal authority as well. Where there's no explicit removal language, there may be implicit authority, as I just explained. And it's where a statute explicitly gives appointing authority and oversight, but not quite the removal piece. So for boards not created pursuant to state law, town charter and code will govern the removal of board members. So our town charter, section 9-5, says any officials appointed by the council to a multiple member body may be removed from office by the town council if said official fails to attend regularly scheduled meetings for a period of 3 consecutive months without express leave from the chairman of such multiple member body, unless the town council shall determine otherwise. So again, that is meaning if somebody misses for 3 months, they didn't have it.
It says 3 months, it's not 3 meetings. I thought
Three-
it was 3 meetings.
3 consecutive months, it says. I guess if it's 3, if they meet monthly, then
Yeah,
it makes
well, I
sense.
mean, we have other committees.
So you could
that
just
meet.
go to a meeting and then skip the next month, go to one, skip the next month, go to one.
Based on our charter. But that's only one piece. That's only one way that they can be removed. So any such appointed official shall be automatically removed from the office if such person is convicted of a felony or if such person is absent from such duties for the period of 1 year, notwithstanding the permission from the chairman to be absent. So those two things kind of are conflictual. The only thing I can think of is maybe they take like a year off for whatever reason, but I still think if you're missing the 3 consecutive months, the year thing doesn't make much sense. So I think those are sort of in conflict with each other. So I would base it off the 3 months of absenteeism. Section 2-10 of the charter provides that town council may require any member of a board or commission to appear before it and give such information as it may require in relation to an office held by such person, its function and performance. That section further provides for town council investigations into the affairs of the town through subpoena of witnesses, administration of oaths, and production of evidence. So that's all coming from that investigation rule in the town council rules. So so that's just what the charter says about removal. It gives you a couple of reasons that you can remove somebody, and it gives you a little bit of a process, which is further laid out in the town council rules. The town code, section 241-8C of the town's administrative code provides that a member of a multi-member board may be removed for cause. That's the main removal purpose. Subject to an investigation and hearing by the town council pursuant to section 2-10 of the charter, what I just read. And again, the rule involving investigations. For cause means, so as illustrated by several state statutes in section 241-8C of the town code, members of boards and commissions may oftentimes be removed for cause. As discussed below, cause must be reasonable grounds for removal, not arbitrary and capricious. So that's the standard that a court's going to apply, arbitrary and capricious. What does arbitrary and capricious mean? So the reasons must be particularized and genuinely related to the officer's qualification or performance of duty. Inefficiency, neglect, maladministration will suffice. Politics, policy disagreement, or conclusory phrases such as "for the good of the service" will not suffice. Courts will generally not reweigh evidence, but they ask whether the decision was arbitrary, capricious, or made in bad faith. So that's really the key standard that you have to think of. It has to be for cause.
What section was that, Allison?
241-8C. That's where it says for cause. And there's a lot of case law that adds goes more and more into what for cause means, what's arbitrary and capricious when we're talking about removal. And I think last time we talked about eventually there'll be a full memo that has a lot more information, but I wasn't going to talk about it in the meeting. So these are just kind of key points. So I will say, just so that I can illustrate what I just went through, and then you can ask me whatever questions you have. But so for example, chapter 41, section 81A is the establishment of the planning board. And it sets forth standards for removal of board members, specifying that any member of a board so established in a city may be removed for cause after a public hearing by the mayor with the approval of city council. And so for the purposes of that section, mayor shall mean town manager and city council shall mean town council. Due to these specific provisions, a planning board member may only be removed for cause in the manner indicated. So again, it's still that for cause standard because the statute says for cause, but it's also giving you procedures that you must go by. So it's saying that the mayor, town manager, after a hearing may remove them with town council approval. So because it's a statutorily created board, you have to go by whatever is provided in that statute. Another example, chapter 40A, section 12 is the creation of the ZBA. And it provides any member may be removed for cause by the appointing authority upon written charges and after a public hearing. So it differs a little bit, but still has the for cause standard. Hence why we have it in our code. It's I think it's kind of generally the standard across the board. 44B section 5 is the creation of the Community Preservation Committee, but the statute is silent as to removal. However, the statute implies removal authority because it allows a municipality to establish term lengths, selection of members, and the composition through the ordinances. So again, it's not saying anything about removal, but it's saying, but there's an appointing authority. They can decide who's on it and how long they can be on it. And so there's that implied authority to remove as well. The town's Human Services Committee was not created pursuant to state statute. As such, the standards for removal set forth in the town charter and code control. So that's just an example of something that we create through our ordinances. It's not statutorily created. And so our code and charter rule that whole situation. And going back to what I had said earlier, sometimes a statute will say, unless otherwise provided by the charter ahead of it. And so that's another example of whatever it says in there, if we say something different, our charter is going to rule there. But again, that's a case by case, and I don't see it often, but it is in a few places. And then chapter 111, section 26 establishes a board of health, and section 26 provides that unless otherwise provided in the city charter, the members may be removed by the mayor for cause. By including the phrase unless otherwise provided in the city charter, the statute allows for Barnstable's charter, and by extension the code, which implements the charter, to rule what I just said. So that's pretty much my spiel. I mean, again, it's a case by case thing. We have to look to whether a statute created it, what that statute says about removal or about appointment, and then it depends on what the reasoning is for. So it's not just the absenteeism, because again, being absent for 3 months obviously is in charter, but if they're meeting once a week and they miss for 1 month, I mean, maybe that's enough, right, to rise to that for cause standard. And there's a lot of case law that goes through that standard, but I don't think it's a super high standard, so long as it's not completely arbitrary, right? So there has to be good reason. So, do you have questions?
In an instance where it's not set up by statutory law, and it just kind of where it says it's implied, if the committee is made within the town confines, then it also implies that it could be undone that way. So if the appointments committee interviews the person and recommends it to council and the council votes, would it also then reason that the appointments committee could make a recommendation to remove somebody and put that forth to the council who then votes on that?
So when we're talking about implicit authority, we're talking about statutorily created, because anything that we're creating within our code, we have authority to remove from, because we don't have to really like translate or try to analyze legislative language. It's just our own language. So if in the code it says the appointments, I think the appointments committee obviously has its own position in this whole thing. It's obviously appointing members to certain committees, commissions. I think anybody that's on the appointments committee is well within their rights to recommend to the town council if they have someone they want to remove for cause. And again, there has to be that public hearing piece of it. Because let me just, I think in the code, subject to an investigation and hearing by the town council. So it doesn't say that it's mandatory, but I do think given just like due process rights, there's the idea that you should have a hearing and understand why something's happening or why something happened. But anyways, I guess to answer your question, yeah, if it's created by the town, I think that's automatically, we have the oversight. So the implicit authority doesn't even come into that conversation. That's really just about the state said we can create this board. Now we have to think, okay, are they also allowing us to remove? Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, come and find legal.
Yeah, basically it just depends on what board, commission, committee we're talking about, but mostly you have to think of the for cause standard. And it can't be arbitrary and capricious. And then then the particular board, we look to where it's at, and if there's some sort of procedure that the statute's laying out, then we have to go through that. But otherwise, the code's gonna move that process.
So if there was a person on one of our committees created by our ordinance, an individual or counselor, whomever would say, I want to conduct an investigation in order to remove whomever. And then that would be an agenda item? Or do you have to issue a subpoena, the town council? Like, how are you gonna, like, what do you?
So I think that and I mean, again, we'd have to go back through the town council rules to really look at what that procedure looks like. But I think really what it is I think unless they want it to be public, it goes into executive session because you're talking about, I'm pretty sure that's going to be what the process is. Unless they say, no, I want this public. It's same, I think it's pretty much the same for like a staff member if you're trying to do an investigation as to something that happened with a staff member. But yeah, and then technically, yes, and this came up during our town rules discussion because it was really bizarre to see that the town council could subpoena people.
Right.
But if you have somebody that you need their statement based on things, I mean, and I think that would come to like more severe things, but if we're talking about attendance, like, I don't know who you need to call in as a witness unless it's the chair or whoever. I don't know that a subpoena would be required for that. I think that they'd probably willingly come in. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the process would be, and again, we'd have to review the rules, but I'm pretty sure the process would be that it would be an executive session except for if they request
And
it.
it'd be an agenda item, or
Yeah.
at a special meeting. Be an agenda item at a special meeting, or at the regular meeting, it would be now for the executive session regarding so-and-so's removal.
Yeah,
If it were an executive session, if not, time now for the public hearing of so-and-so's removal.
yeah.
And it would just appear on the agenda at that one time. There's no reading that needs to go on, right? They just warn it for a public
No,
hearing.
again, you just have to do your own investigation, whatever that looked like. And I mean, I think that the details we'd probably discuss them further if when this came up,
Yeah, I'm
but
just curious.
in general, yeah, I think you conduct the investigation pursuant to the rules and then you hold the public hearing, and I think that they probably would just have the right, or anybody else would have the right to speak on their behalf. I do know that Karen and I were discussing this a little bit, and the confusing piece is you have a public hearing, but if they don't want it in public and they want it in executive session, I think they sort of waive that right.
Right.
Yeah. Because some people don't want it, but then other people, yeah, I want it all out there,
Yeah.
So it depends on who it is and what the issue is.
And then, yeah, that's interesting. And the notice for that hearing is good enough to be just the 48-hour agenda notice.
Yeah,
For a
whatever,
public hearing,
just
whatever it is.
exactly, whatever the public hearing would be required.
Interesting.
Okay, so from what I see, there's nothing we can do until some kind of action occurs. Then we'd have to go to the lawyers and see what they say.
Well, and I mean, this came out of my question because we
Yeah.
did receive a request to remove somebody from a board
Yeah,
Recently?
recently, and it was due to a
Oh, the
lack of
attendance thing?
attendance.
Yeah.
And so, and the problem was the person wasn't responding to the request from the chair
yeah,
to please tell us why you're not attending.
Yeah.
So the chair didn't really have a mechanism, and when it came to me about removing it, I'm like, we're not the unappointing board.
Right.
So and it's not as simple as the chair asking, because the person never shows up, please get rid of them.
yeah.
Which, in some ways, you would think if the guy's not returning emails and he's not showing up and the chair is asking, you would think it'd be fairly easy. It's not fairly easy. So that was, all the imaginations of that one question is why we're bringing this forward.
Well, I guess I don't know, and obviously we're not gonna talk about anybody in particular right now, and I don't know the facts of that particular complaint, but it depends, right? So.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying, is that's part of why we're discussing this, is because
Yeah.
I asked the question and the discussion was, we will discuss it here, and then we will be educated. Furthermore, all of the counselors will know what the process is, so it's not just a small group of people that knows. And the point being, we can't just take people off of boards, committees, and commissions, A, because the chair asks, or B, because it's a whim or whatever. There's actual process and legal guidance and representation, and here we are. It's not as, it's not easy.
Right.
I don't, I mean, I think most of the time it would be for something like that. So there's maybe not an investigation that needs to be done, it just needed to kind of work its way through, and
So is that happening on this particular right now?
it's all resolved.
It's all resolved?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was resolved by
Just-
finally getting hold of the person, or, okay.
So if I may, when I was chair of a committee, I had a similar problem where emails, formal letter, phone calls was getting no answer. And I was at that time being strongly admonished by the then council president, hey, you gotta get your committee in order or whatever. And I said, this person won't resign? I said, I don't have any evidence. He said, well, we can't, the feeling at that time was, we can't fire a volunteer. We need some document that says that person would be willing to resign. I said, but I'm not getting a response. So then the council president called them and scolded me and said, well, he answered my phone call. And I said, maybe that's all it is, somebody
Yeah.
with a
And
little
if-
more authority.
And if they didn't, then again, you'd, as a council, I think,
Yeah,
vote to.
for
to-
cause,
Yeah, vote that
inefficiency.
there is an
And there's-
attendance issue and that you find that a removal is called for. And then I think you vote to notice the public hearing, have them in, and maybe they don't show up and then it's no problem because, you know what I mean? So,
We'll find you when
Yeah.
that happens
So it
again.
got resolved when somebody else called, is my answer.
That's probably happened in
Yeah.
this case too. All right, thank you so much.
thanks, Rob.
Okay, continue the discussion of the purpose, competence, functionality of the committee. I would like to ask, I think I asked you, Chris, to ask Craig for extension of this until December,
Yes.
and we didn't get to it yet, so question is, is there anything left undone that we want to do in this committee? Do you want me to put together a report now or soon and send it to the committee? And then say, hey, we've got this to do and this to do, and then we can submit our final report?
I think that would be helpful,
Yeah.
John, yes.
Because I did one a while back, and that was up
Yeah.
to that date. So if I get the minutes from this, I'll put it together. And that'll be the basis for a report to the town council.
Sounds great.
I have a suggestion that perhaps the language could be looked at probably with one visit with Waterways, the Shellfish Committee, and Sandy Neck Board. They will all look for NEA. And my impetus for doing that would be that the Shellfish Committee needs an update on their language and have had for a while. It makes reference to a department that no longer exists, the Health and Environment Department. It's now been changed. That was a couple of town managers ago. And the reference to the composition I think needs a little tweaking. So.
What do you mean to the reference, like it says outdated language as to the reference?
Yeah, that's
and
outdated, that
composition?
it refers, it says shall report to whatever the, something about the Health and Environment Department, which was headed up at that time by Tom Geiler. And he since has passed away, and that's not what the department's called anymore. So that language is stale. It's,
But as far as composition,
the composition
meaning
could
like,
be tweaked. It calls for 3 commercial members, 3 recreational shell fishing, 3 commercial shell fishing, 3 recreational shell fishing, 2 at large, and 1 person trained in the shell fishery or something to that effect. I think that there was or has been a maturing of that committee, and at that time, aquaculture was a new thing in our town. Now it's a major economic driver in our town, to the point that I believe Barnstable is the number one, has the number 1 value of shellfish sold in the state of Massachusetts. So it's a big deal between north side and south side. So I'm proposing, and I think there was a draft where these at-large positions were really not bringing in anyone who was a contributor to the discussions about shell fisheries, but aquaculture would be. And I think assigning those at-large seats to aquaculture would be beneficial. So I think that, and that there was consensus about that sometime prior to COVID, when I was a brand new counselor.
That sounds good.
Would you like to bring those groups in, and then we can,
Just,
they aren't at odds with each other, just want to have their language made so it's a,
right, those 3 committees are all, have interface with staff for the Marine Environmental Affairs Committee.
so that change in language, is that something you would do and ask those groups to okay it? Are you gonna ask those groups to give you the language? I guess I'm just a little
Yeah,
like,
I guess I can,
whose responsibility would that be to like be updating something? I mean, obviously, if the department's no longer there, then you're swapping the language, but if you're
Sure.
changing membership, is that something we'd wanna ask the chair or get the committee to vote on that change?
it could be, there has been input in the past. Committee members have since changed when we had this discussion. But there was at one time in the past, at least I got the impression that the council wasn't looking for committees to redefine themselves. The council was the boss and was gonna define what the committee's needs and wants were. And they didn't want it bottom up, they wanted top down kind of shaping of any code language. But it was done with input from the committee members at that time.
I think it'd be good to hear from those. I mean, that's our lifeblood here is the water. You know, the waterways, the shellfish, absolutely.
I think if we're gonna change the language, we should bring them in, cause they're the
Yes.
3 committees we haven't had come in here.
And there's a lot of
We had
expertise there
recreation come
that
in,
I don't
we had-
have.
Did we have Carl come in?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, well, we did because Chris Canella
But what I
talked.
mean, yeah, so
So would you want me, Counselor Starr is the liaison to the Shellfish Committee. I was at the time when this was drafted, but would you suggest that I speak with Counselor Starr and resurrect this and bring it before the Shellfish Committee as an agenda item?
You wanna bring it in front of the shellfish, or you want to bring them here?
I'd like to bring them here.
It's up to you, but to discuss this proposed language.
yeah, just discuss
Yeah,
it
before they come here.
So that they're aware
Yes.
that this might be restructured a bit.
So you're talking about changing the composition, right?
Yeah.
Not just code language?
That's right.
Right, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Redefining, not changing the 9 members, but the designation.
Okay.
For example, when the language for the Shellfish Committee, which was done in, I forgot when it was, the 90s, I believe, there was a reference made to that a person on the committee shall be there for someone who was professionally trained in the shell fishery, and that was agonized over to try to describe someone who is familiar with shellfishing but doesn't have a college degree. And you want to make it a requirement, because someone who could be a regular harvester might be very familiar with shellfish flats, impacts, you know.
Yeah, no problem with that.
So I think that was agonized over trying to define a science spot without saying they needed a degree.
One other thing that I'd like to bring up is the committee, you know, the I guess it's a 5-year review committee of the Comprehensive Waste Management Plan. I'd like to have the chair of that committee come in and consider that as a standing committee, if that's the word, or a full-time committee, because it's taking the preponderance of our budget. We've got flow neutral. It's, the DPW has hired someone, you know, Kelly Colopy. It's just, it's huge. And, you know, we have all the golf and all these other things, recreation, but we have no sounding board on the sewer. We only have a one-way voice going out. And I think it would be nice to keep that sounding board on that sewer plan.
How often do you think that committee would meet?
We meet
Or maybe,
very
no,
often.
but they have a specific goal, because it's an ad hoc, so they have a specific
Right.
goal, a specific purpose, a timed event. Now you're gonna recommend to make that a standing committee. I guess my question, you're on that committee, so you could probably speak to it. What do you think, you know, we don't have to determine this now, but what
I
would its
think-
goals be? How often do you think they need to meet? I mean, that's like.
At least quarterly to get updates,
Okay,
I
yeah,
think.
no, I just
I
didn't
think
know
it
if you
would
meant
be
like it would be
reasonable.
like every 2 weeks or once a month or.
Because we used to have that what, clean water committee, the pond committee, we used to have the DPW committee, and now we have none of that. And this is eating our entire budget, and I think we need the citizens to be fully engaged. I don't know if you're.
That's
what do you-
a good idea, no, it's
Wasn't
been-
there the Water Resources
There
Advisory
you
Committee?
go.
That's the one, right?
Yeah,
WRAC, the
the
RAC, as they
RAC.
call it. That doesn't sound like a very good name.
Yeah,
But they were busy too. But we could make it a standing committee.
I think there should be some citizen oversight. I see that as the value of the other ones. You know, having been on this, I appreciate, especially when the individuals from recreation came, you know, it's really nice to just keep citizens engaged and.
My only real comment about that committee was really populated without citizen, like it's mainly department people.
No, it was appointed by
But
the
it's
council president.
Yeah, but there wasn't any appointments committee, I don't know if you'd want, I mean,
No,
honestly.
I'm saying it would morph into that. I think it should morph into that. It shouldn't just be every 5 years it gets together and
Yeah,
then.
but I guess my question is when
Yeah.
you say you want citizen engagement, a lot of the people on there were like kind of cherry picked to be on that. So then the question would be, is as that continues on, would it morph into people that are still
think it would
cherry
be a
picked, or
I
would
think
it
like the
be
shellfish is.
appointed by the appointments committee?
No, I think it would be similar to what it is. As I say, the shellfish would be an example. You have the expertise and then you have the citizens, which I think it has now. You have regular,
Yeah, so
Folk
they're
on
Yeah, but it was
mostly-
cherry picked, is all I'm saying. It wasn't appointed.
No,
So-
I know
Z. Crocker
Yeah,
and
so-
Scott Horsley, right? The
Yeah,
two.
like, the
I
question to
know
me
that,
is,
but
who do you
yeah.
want on there? Cause I mean, a regular citizen might not have enough knowledge to be useful in that committee versus people with specified knowledge. So I'm just thinking out loud, when you're creating a
yeah, well, it's
committee,
like
just-
CFAC. I mean, that's normally, the folks on CFAC have done financial.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, Joe Schmo isn't gonna just say, I'll be on CFAC, you know, I mean.
don't.
I have to say that
I don't know, you're on the,
that the committee is very productive, and they're mostly engineers.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
technical, that's all.
Very technical is the right
Yeah,
word.
so
Yeah.
we just wanna make sure we don't end up diluting something that needs to be technical with regular citizens who are like,
Yeah, good point.
I just want to be on the wastewater. I'm worried, you know, like, I'm just a little nervous because, I mean, they have real work they need to do and I wouldn't. It'll
So-
probably all work out.
There's one member who's a member of the staff from CONM Water Department, and other water experts.
Yeah.
So we are technically astute. I'm less so, but Gordon's, there are three.
Well, can we keep a technically astute committee?
Yeah, why not?
Called the tack instead of the rack.
I don't know, I would like
The
to
weed
explore it,
tack,
I just think
the
it's
water
important.
technically astute committee, the
Yeah.
weed tack.
Well, I guess the vision was that as an ad hoc committee, this, after 5 years, this committee was gonna make recommendations, be extinguished, and then resurrect for the next 5 years. That was, I think,
I think we should make a recommendation to discuss with the current committee how
Yeah.
they could see an ongoing
That's
standing
what
committee
I just want,
being useful.
yes, I
Yeah,
wanna just see,
Yeah.
I just think
I
it's
think it's a great idea.
such a huge
Yeah.
part of us for the next 30 years to, I don't know.
I make a motion to discuss with the current CWMP ad hoc about making a standing committee going forward and getting their recommendations.
Yeah. Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
so we're gonna bring them here next time then, or
the chair,
who's the chair?
Scott Horsley.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
next
there
time
are
we've
3
got-
counselors, but it's because Counselor Penn asked who wants to be on it, and anyone who wanted to be on it is on it. That's Counselor Neary, Starr, and me.
So we've got those people coming from the shellfish committees,
Well, do you want the chairs of each?
chairs.
Waterways, Shellfish, and
Yeah.
Sandy Neck.
Okay. When do we plan on our next meeting? I am out from the whole week of the 13th through 17th. So we're back
Something after that.
the week of the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. And then we have the
November
last
or
October.
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 Okay.
There's a town council meeting on the 23rd.
What's good for everybody. Today is, today's Thursday. We'd have, I don't want to run as a town council that day. Monday, Tuesday,
Tuesday's fine
Wednesday,
with me.
anybody?
We have the 21st, we're booked for appointments, but,
What time is that?
I think that's at 3 on the 21st.
How about 22nd, Wednesday? Anybody have an issue with that? That's okay? Wednesday at 3?
Perfect day for me. Perfect day for me.
So, com. 3 PM on Wednesday, the 22nd? Good. Okay. Just to go back over it, I'm going to go to the town council on Thursday during the usual town councilor whatever time, and recommend to Mark that the staff look at support for human services, either with somebody we already have, giving part-time, or just give them support.
Yes, I
You want
think.
to do that now?
You have to be careful how you say it, because I don't want it to be like it was before,
Yeah, I know.
when this was brought up and Andy Clever said, well, Cynthia Lovell's doing that. You know, it needs to be some expertise. It's not just minutes and meetings. It needs to be what they have talked about. It should be someone who has some knowledge. So, I mean, if you say it that way, it's gonna be, okay, you take the minutes for them or something like that.
Right.
The way you couch it, it has to be
The human services
some expertise.
position.
Well, do you
in
want to
town,
explain it
liaison.
since you're the liaison to that committee?
You can do it if you want to. It'd be better.
I mean, you don't have to, I'm just wondering if,
I don't know, I think it should come from the chair, shouldn't it, or?
no, excuse me, this chair, that's you.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Well,
I
what-
just
what-
need,
yeah.
I having been in the meeting, Chris was in the meeting where we talked about this and then I followed up and, there was some thought, you had mentioned there's a person in planning and development might have spare time, but then that fell through and they said, well, Cynthia Lovell will do it. So we're right back to nothing.
Okay.
And not that Cynthia Lovell is nothing, I'm saying we need expertise in human services. That's the ask.
Okay.
Is to actually consider it in that aspect. That we're really gonna be serious about it and have, whether it's a part-time, that could be, but it needs to be someone who has some education, some training. I thought they made the recommendations there. That's,
We should invite Falmouth's human resources, I always say human resources, but I mean to say human services. Human services director or whomever to come talk to us. Not necessarily as a part of this committee, but generally.
that's not a bad idea.
Because I don't know what the heck they, I mean, I can imagine what they do, but to see,
Yeah, on a daily basis.
you know what I mean? Just because, yeah, to see what it is we're even asking for. I see the job description and all that.
Well, this would be somebody we'd have to hire.
Yeah, it'll all be
Yeah.
something we'll go, that's further down the road, of course. I
Yeah, we're not
suppose,
gonna be doing that.
But I
Somebody's
just
smarter than
wanna-
us.
Yeah, you know what I mean, just for the, they
I mean,
could
is
start a
that, isn't
whole,
that what we voted on? Does people agree that that's what we voted on? Was
Yeah.
you need somebody who has some expertise, we're not just doing a part-time job to
Yeah,
be administrative support.
okay.
We're talking about somebody who can liaise with the plethora of agencies that surround this very building. I mean, it's astonishing the amount of agencies that are in this town of Hyannis. And again, the only homeless shelter on Cape Cod.
So procedurally, during the next town council meeting, just during the committee updates, you're just going to say that this ad hoc committee voted to recommend to the town council that you ask the town manager to provide some expert, like perhaps create a position or hire someone who can substantively support.
That's the word,
And
for
then-
sure.
And then that's,
Health and Human Services.
I just wonder,
Can't say
I just
it.
wonder,
Can't say it.
you know, you're saying it. It's not, they can't vote on it, obviously, because it has to be on the agenda to vote, so perhaps maybe during that you'll ask that it end up on the next agenda to vote on?
Yeah, how would it be voted on?
You'd have to put it on the agenda to actually vote on it, so,
Wanna
I
put it
think-
on the agenda? Well, it can't go on the agenda.
yeah, it would have to wait for in the next meeting, so this coming meeting next Thursday, you could say that you're gonna try to, you're gonna ask that it be put on the agenda so that the council could take a vote on it. I
Okay.
don't see a problem with that.
Well, when's the agenda setting meeting for the following meeting?
It'd be
The day before?
2 Wednesdays prior to that.
So this
Is
coming
it-
Wednesday.
It's not too late to put it on the
I was
agenda.
gonna say, it's
Oh,
probably
oh,
not too late to put it on the next
Yeah.
agenda.
I think that would be probably
The best thing, put
cleaner.
it on the agenda?
We have to request, I mean, we already have the agenda set a meeting, but you
The
need
agenda
48,
doesn't come out till
you have 48
tomorrow.
hours and it can be amended.
But not only that, it's not out yet. I'm not-
Right, I haven't.
Yeah.
It's not this Thursday.
Well, it's Thursday.
Today's Thursday, so we have plenty,
If you did it
All right.
today, or do it tomorrow, it'd be fine by next Thursday. It's 48 business hours, right?
So do we go through you and Craig to put it on the agenda?
There's 4 of us that, right? That's the number you have to get something on the agenda.
Yeah, there are 4 of us,
Automatically.
there's 5 of us.
Isn't that how you do it? If you wanna really put something on the
Yeah.
agenda and Craig says no, then we could just write a letter and all sign it, and then just submit the item and it goes on the agenda, right?
I don't know. Sounds good though.
I think that sounds great.
Definitely look into it, but I don't know.
That's what I've read somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was in the charter or in the.
I'm sure.
There's something about 4 counselors.
Yeah. But, and we get tons of amended agendas. At least
Yes,
then
we
we'll have all things get added right on there all the time.
So she's
I
talking
think
about
she's-
doing it this Thursday,
yeah, adding something to the agenda for next Thursday.
Yeah,
not this coming Thursday, but Thursday.
no, this comes,
The week
yeah,
from today.
so it's on the agenda,
So it's
so.
But then it's
agenda.
cleaner because you can officially make the recommendation and
You
just
say
say
it,
that,
and then it's on the agenda later, right? You're saying it during the
Yeah,
boards and
The
committees.
recommendation from this committee would be to create, but explore the potential creation of a human services position,
Yeah, within the town of Barnstable,
blah,
within
blah,
the,
blah.
Yeah.
For, what was the word, substantive?
to substantively support.
That's really good word.
Substantively, say that 10 times
I know,
fast, support.
substantive.
Substantively.
Yeah, support.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna
like that word.
Support this, the substance of the committee, meaning you're gonna, yeah, I think that that's the best word to
I think it's
use.
the
and-
best
Yes, I
word,
agree.
yeah.
So, I mean, you wouldn't even have to bring it up during the committee
could
updates,
bring it
cause if
up.
it was on the agenda, then you
No,
would
No, if
wait
it's
till
on the
the
agenda,
item.
we don't need to bring it up during the.
The item would come up and,
And
But he
then
could explain how it got on the agenda.
you could do it during the rationale.
yeah,
But it'll be a
That's
first
true.
read, or, well, no, it doesn't have to be a double
No.
read,
no,
it just goes
it,
right on.
exactly, you just
And
vote
then
to.
the rationale.
Cause you, again, it's similar to how you vote to designate
Right.
Karen Nober to answer a complaint. You know what I mean? Or any other time that you've asked the town manager to do something, that's what it's going to be. You're gonna be voting to ask Mark Ells to
Right,
look into adding a position to substantively support the Human Services Committee.
that's the phrase right
Would
there.
you like to write that
Right,
up for us
you're
with the
right.
current?
You don't write the
language?
rationale,
Why
right?
don't you do that, it'd be great, and I'll.
Well, that, I mean, if
Everybody can jump in
Because it
while I'm
needs
doing
to
this,
be
if I screw up.
substantively resolved.
I can say it.
blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
Substantive.
Now, if you put it in my mind where it's gonna, I'm gonna
Majority,
go
of the full council present.
to a stutter on that.
No, I think what
Well, there'll be a
Allison said
nice
is
rationale.
perfect.
And you can do, it'll be a nice rationale, be written, and it'll say, through the course of the work of this committee, we have.
A lot of the rationale is right in,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
have
write
this,
one
don't
line, During the
you?
work of this committee, during the work of this committee.
John, can you send it to Allison,
Parent to us to read.
the stuff from Human Services, so she
I'll send it
has?
to her right.
You got it, okay.
So I'm gonna word it explore options to hire. Well, to create,
Substantively.
Substantive. See, there you go, substantively. That's not right, that's too many.
That's too many.
Now that it's a thing, you're right though.
Don't
Or-
start that, I wanna do this on Thursday night. I'm like, God, what's
I just sent it to Allison.
thank you, for the Human Services Committee. Okay, so pending, leadership's okay on that.
And I tried to reach him.
That's fine, so pending that leadership's okay on that, I'll talk to Karen in the morning about that and we'll work on how, like drafting the resolve and the rationale and everything like that, so
It'll
we'll
have to
just,
be in before Friday,
tomorrow, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
could do that.
tomorrow.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
Well,
that'd be
Kristen,
good.
you
And
just
if-
sent her those,
If Craig
so she
says
has
no,
that.
I'm gonna write a letter
Yeah.
and we'll sign it.
There's a lot of
and
good
then
language
put
in
it
there,
on
they really, they tightened it up, I thought they did a good job.
Well, I could even,
expect that I have to-
Yeah.
I think you
make
just
that
need,
an appendix to the,
yeah,
you know what I
like you
mean?
just need a couple lines about what we've
Yeah.
done, why we're doing it, and
Yeah.
this is what they recommend.
Yeah, you can
Boom,
give it
we support it,
2 minute
Yeah.
thing.
yay or nay.
Right,
Okay, so I don't need to go through the whole thing, it'll be on the,
Yeah.
I don't have to say substantively.
But you'll, I guess, be the sponsor, you'll be the sponsor
Yeah,
of it
that's
as
fine.
chair of this committee and then, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And we all substantively support
Good,
you.
good, thank you.
Substantively, you can't do it substantively, there you go, that's almost right. We gotta go though, John, you,
I
right?
make a motion to
yeah, look
adjourn.
how late we are.
You got a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all set.
There you go.